A couple of years ago when CrossFit announced that they were going to have adaptive divisions at the games, Eric Rosa at the time was very open in saying, we know we want to do it. We know we're going to get some things wrong, but we think we're going to get some things right as well. From your standpoint, what do you think they have gotten right about the adaptive competition over the past couple of years?
I mean, like, first of all, I am like so grateful for CrossFit providing this opportunity for us. I think everybody at CrossFit, from like all of the volunteers, the judges, athlete control, like they all made us feel like they treated us like any other athlete. And that was amazing. Like, shout out to all the volunteers. Like, they did so much for us. And again, just like any other athlete, from a programming standpoint, like this year was so cool. I think one of the coolest things to me was that the swim event, that it was the same event for all the divisions. That was amazing. You know, it's like, because Legend got all the way to the end and would have placed like 28th or something in the elite division. And to not only include us in the games, but like include us in the same event as the elite athletes, like how much better can you get? Like, that was awesome. And so that was one of the things that I thought was great. Especially the swim event in general was just such an incredible atmosphere and the coolest experience as an athlete. And so I think that was, to me, one of the highlights of what they've gotten right, especially this year. And I think, like, especially this year, the variety of movements was so much better than last year. I mean, last year was awesome too, but it was just like a lot of new things thrown at us, like the P-bars and, you know, like weighted pull-ups, all these things. I just thought there was a really big variety of movements, and they were really like thinking outside the box as to how can we push adaptive athletes? Like, even though they have their limitations, like I still feel like they went out of their way to sort of push our limits, which is what you want as an athlete. Like, you want to be pushed. Like, I know my lower leg doesn't function, but like I want to be pushed. You know, I want to be pushed to my limits, and I want to have to use my brain and like figure out a way to get things done that I've never done before. And I thought that was really like done very well, especially this year. It's really cool.
I got the sense and that after year one, it felt like they kind of just wanted to get one in the fairway and get in a sense of the structure of the competition, and that they kind of dialed things up, like you mentioned, this year. And if I'm correct in that assessment, where do you think next year can be like the next evolution of that process? Is it continuing to test in new ways, or is it expansion, or what other ways can they continue to evolve this to make it better?
Yeah, I think we're definitely headed in the right direction. Like, from year one to year two, like I think that sort of trend should continue, of expanding the capacity of adaptive athletes, right? Like, you know, there's so much we can't do, but there's so much we can do, and sort of pushing the limits of what we can do. And then to have that be like attention beyond that, like, so if you have other adaptive athletes who like aren't sure what adaptive CrossFit is, or if they want to get into it, they can look at that and see that there's so many options. Like, I want the world to see that there's so many options of what you can do as an adaptive athlete, and that there's such a high level of competition that you can do. And so I think, again, like, this year was a step in the right direction, but there's so much more that we can expand on, including, I know there are plans to include other divisions in the future. And I think that's really, really important, that we showcase the talent and the hard work of every adaptive division. So I know that there's a lot that goes into that, but that's definitely something that is important.
In order to grow all the adaptive divisions, you have to start with getting more adaptive athletes into CrossFit boxes. How do you think you do that in the best and most efficient way possible?
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's something that I'm really motivated to do. I think to start, the displaying the adaptive athletes at the games, the way that it was covered on live stream, the way that there is covered on Instagram, just getting more attention on the capabilities of adaptive athletes, hopefully will inspire other people to get started with it. But getting started is also a hard process. It's not as easy as just like walking into a gym and taking a normal class. Like, you have to have coaches who are knowledgeable enough to make the correct adaptations for athletes, which is more complicated than it seems. So, I'm like really grateful to have my coach here at East that has a good like knowledge of how to adapt, especially like Olympic lifts to my limitations. But the Adaptive Training Academy is doing a really good job of educating coaches and with their certification. And so the more and more coaches we get who are able to work with adaptive athletes, the more comfortable adaptive athletes are going to feel getting started in a sport that can be like intimidating to the average person. And so, yeah, I mean, like, honestly, one of my goals is to like grow the adaptive athlete community. So like, I would love like for athletes to reach out to me on Instagram or like my coach, and I'd love to train with other adaptive athletes, have them here and stuff. So it's like, it's easier said than done, but I think we can make it happen. It's just going to take some time.